Wow. When I launched Golden Axe Warrior, a game that recommended me by the retro gaming community on the Sega Master System, I didn't know what an amazing game I'm about to experience, honestly. I also played it well as back in the days, but also I know that these games were designed for CRT, so I played it also on a CRT display. This game was released in 1991. It's an action-adventure game developed and published by Sega. It's one of these games that when you launch it, you know that you're gonna go on a grand adventure, with lots of mystery, action, things to discover, and fun. The game tells the story of a warrior that needs to reclaim 9 magic crystals and the legendary golden axe to avenge his parents and defeat the tyrant Death Adder, restoring peace to the United Kingdoms. Now when you launch the game, you cannot ignore the fact that it looks very similar to, well, another game, The Legend of Zelda, some call it Zelda 1. Some people consider it as a direct clone of the original Legend of Zelda for the NES. It does feature also similar gameplay loop. You explore an open world, find 9 dungeons, labyrinths, collect items, in this case crystal instead of Triforce pieces, and unlock new areas. It has top-down perspective. You have also mechanics that include, for example, hard containers for health. In this case, you're going to find NPCs that are going to give you extra health. You can use your weapons to remove trees and walls, and even enemies. Many enemies are direct analogs to Zelda foes, like skeletons that move like Stalfos and jelly monsters like Zols. And it does feel actually better than Zelda. And for me, well, first of all, we need to understand that the game is released several years, of course, after Zelda, and also on a much more powerful system, the Sega Master System. The Legend of Zelda released in 1986 and this game released in 1991, so 5 years between them. So they have time to polish, of course, the formula. The game also very accessible. It has clear dialogue, actual towns, and very helpful NPCs that give you hints what to do next. And if you find them, and trust me, they're hidden, so it's up to you to try to discover where they are located. A really good hint what you can actually do in order to become more powerful, or find something that helps you to get to another area. Also, the combat feels better. You aren't limited to just a sword. Here you can switch between the axe, kind of a wider swing, and use robust elemental magic system, the earth, fire, thunder, and water. And you can even upgrade them throughout the game. It also set in the Golden Axe universe, so it does feel unique and it just hold on its own. You're also gonna meet some heroes from the arcade game. One of them, for example, like Gillia's Thunderhead. And those act like teachers, giving it a kind of cool connection to the beat 'em up series. But don't confuse between Golden Axe and Golden Axe Warrior. These are two completely different games. This is also one of the few games that have built-in battery, a built-in save system, so no longer passwords here. And basically because of that, also longer gameplay. It's also very challenging. We're going to talk about this in a moment. And it also has smarter dungeon design that feels, let's say, fairer compared to Zelda's trial and error approach. When I first look at the grid, I told myself the map is pretty small. Trust me, it's going to feel like an open world game. This is just ingeniously designed to just make exploration just so much fun. With some, even if you compare it to like modern open world game that can become so boring, it's just unbelievable how fun this game is, even considering its state. However, it does feature over 200 unique screens, because again, you also need to take the dungeons into account, caves and other areas you're gonna discover. Now, I just want to mention it here. This game is considered a rare game for the Sega Master System. It was also included as an unlockable game in Sonic's Ultimate Genesis collection for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. But I played here on the Sega Master System. I actually needed to order it via eBay in order to be able to play this game again, as I wanted, of course, on the Sega Master System on the original console with a CRT display. Now, the game actually got mixed reviews. I also read on Wikipedia, for example, that computer and video games pointed out the difference, calling it an incredibly dull RPG. And reviewers like in Mean Machines call it boring and tedious. Others, for example, like GamePro from 1991 gave it a 5 out of 5. Joystick Friends and Player One Friends gave it 88%. And even modern reviews gave it around, again, in average, around 80%. With some higher, some lower. But as you know, every single review is a single person's opinion. This actually turned out to be one of the better retro games that I play ever. The game featured grind, especially at the beginning, just so you know. So it's a bit a bit hard at the beginning when you start out. So just give it a bit time, but it becomes much faster as you progress. The game also is designed to be challenging. Some call it like, hard as Zelda. It took me actually several days in order to complete it, and I struggled quite a lot. The dungeons themselves are really fun. Actually, they always hold, I think it's always, a special item and a boss fight, sometimes even more than one. Sometimes it's maybe just a boss before the boss fight that you need to defeat in order to get a crystal. Sometimes you need to know what the mechanic is in order to do well here, and actually fell several times until I understood what to do. The game is balanced perfectly, absolutely perfectly, so you feel challenged, but it won't overwhelm you. As many say, challenging but fair. That being said, of course, if you find the right items, it can become much easier, but it's up to you to discover how to get them. It's not totally cryptic, so don't worry. I mean, it's all about eventually exploration. So all I can give you without spoiling things, if you are stuck at something, it's usually an item that you have. Even if it doesn't look straightforward, it should solve an issue. So just keep this in mind. Now, regarding the music, I expected something kind of a boring, generic 8-bit loop, to be honest. But the music turned out to be great. It's incredibly catchy. It gives you that genuine sense of grand adventure. And even the dungeon themes have this kind of a eerie, echoing quality that actually make you feel isolated. So it's done very good. Yes, absolutely fantastic music. I was really surprised. I didn't expect that. Now, of course, take things into perspective, right? This is a classic game from 1991, so keep this in mind. In terms of visuals, I think the game is absolutely stunning. Beautiful, colorful, it's just a charming game to look at. It's just so inviting. Usually something I say about almost any game that comes from Nintendo. Almost. So actually seeing something like that on the Sega Master System, it's a bliss, to be honest with you. The game also has, by the way, different biomes, different areas, so they look different from each other, which is also cool. Like you have this lava area, for example. You have a forest. You have the ocean, desert area, and basically lots of secrets to discover in different places. And even specific enemies in the ocean. Now, I love hard games, I love Souls-like games, and the thing is that here also, if you die, you're going to lose horns. And horns are basically the currency that you use to buy things. That is just a must, of course. Otherwise, you're going to stay weak because you can't buy things that you need. Some of the items that you're going to get, you need to have horns in order to buy them. Same goes to buying any other consumable. There are also shortcuts. If you want to get to the shortcut, you need to pay. And also enemies, once you die, they also spawn again. And part of the fun for me was indeed because the game was challenging. Again, the game mechanics designed really well in order to really match in terms of enemy movement, the way they attack you, sometimes random, it's easy, sometimes they are aggroing you. They actually design it well based on your also movement or orientation. So it just makes the game really fun to try to challenge certain enemies and try to overcome them. Well, it requires skill. You can't just go and just bump into enemies and kill. I mean, you can maybe at later stage, but again, just the smaller cheap enemies, otherwise you're gonna get hit. A few of the negatives, it's a bit tedious when it comes to grinding to get horns, especially if you're struggling and a bit more than that in order to complete the more challenging boss fights and dungeons. Also with the sword that you get, the second one, it kind of seems like it hit the enemy. I mean, it overlaps with the enemy, but it doesn't hit. It felt a bit awkward in terms of the hitbox. But all of that doesn't really impair a lot from the overall amazing gameplay experience. So overall, I don't know what they're actually saying there. This is just a must-play game. So much fun. If you love Zelda games, you love challenging games, exploration, fun combat, beautiful, charming game, like action adventure game spiced up with some RPG mechanics, you're gonna enjoy this game. Must play. Thanks for watching.